evening to all of you faithful viewers of Equinoxe Television, 6 p.m. by 6 o'clock. It's time for the news. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. Our major stories this evening. The Nigerian Consul General for the Southwest and Northwest regions has re-echoed the readiness of the Nigerian government to join in the search of the kidnapped divisional officer of Idabato Ewane Roland. His Excellency Obasanjo Kuka made the declarations at the end of a chat he had with the governor of the Southwest region, Bernal Kalabilai, on the abduction of the divisional officer of Idabato today, that was in Boya. Meantime, those in the Adamawa and the far north regions of Cameroon have also been feeling the heat with regards to insecurity. Several suspects causing terror in Marua and Bedwa recently fell in the dragnet of the forces of law and order. The month of October also continues, and we are still in the business of informing you on cancer. Tonight, we spoke to a patient, a survivor who has been living with nose cancer for over 8 years now. Viewers, those are our major stories. Details when we come back. Welcome back, viewers. Thank you so much for the confidence. We told you in the headlines that the Nigerian Consul General for the Southwest and Northwest regions has re-echoed the readiness of the Nigerian government to join in the search of the kidnapped divisional officer of Idabato Ewane Roland that was some weeks back. His Excellency Obasanjo Kuka, who is a Nigerian consul, made the declarations at the end of a chat he had with the governor of the Southwest region, Bernal Kalabilai, that was today in Boya on the abduction of the divisional officer of Idabato. Smart Njikan Gabriel tells us more.
It's been more than 2 weeks that the divisional officer of Idabato, Ewane Roland, was taken away by alleged kidnappers from the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as declared by the governor of the Southwest region, Bernard Kalabilai, during a visit at the seaside town of Idabato.
It is well established that the GO was kidnapped with the complicities of some so-called Nigerian businessmen. The
governor gave a 73 hours ultimatum for the divisional officer to be released, but till date, no news about the whereabouts of the divisional officer of Idabato. As the search for a way forward to free the captured divisional officer continues, the Nigerian Consul General to the Southwest and Northwest region was at the office of the Southwest governor for about 40 minutes. Both men talked on a possible ways of releasing the divisional officer, Ewane Roland, behind closed doors. At the end of the behind-camera discussion, the Nigerian consul insisted that the two countries, Cameroon and Nigeria, will continue in their collaboration.
We'll continue collaborating about the issue, and we have asked the governor if we have any information concerning the issue to let us know. Both governments are collaborating on this issue, and we hope that they will be successful.
With the meeting of the Nigerian consul and the governor, the prayer is that the divisional officer, Ewane Roland, should still be alive and be freed in the days ahead.
You're right, Sir Smart. Hopefully the deal will be found safe and sound. Now we talk something else, to another big story. A large-scale security operation by elements of the far north Gendarmerie region has led to the arrest of many suspects in the several localities, including Ndukula, Marua, Tuo in Diamare, and Muturawa in the Mayokani division. Legion Commander Joseph Ngele Desire led the raid aimed at dealing with the problem of insecurity across the far north region of the country. Babila Jonathan is on that beat.
A stock of cannabis and several mobile phones seized during a security operation in the Marua 2 subdivision in the far north region of Cameroon.
Les gendarmes de la brigade de Salak.
In Salak, gendarme officers intercepted a bus heading for Yaoundé carrying boxes of tramadol, a drug commonly abused in the region. The search in the locality of Ndukula located in the Jamboree division led to the seizure of bladed weapons, including poisoned arrows, thus increasing concerns about the dangerousness of the criminals operating in these areas.
Ces produits sont consommés par les terroristes.
These arrests highlight the seriousness of the security situation in the Far North region, where the presence of illegal products combined with dangerous weapons represent a direct threat to the society. The suspects arrested will soon be presented to the public prosecutor.
Still on insecurity from the Far North to the East region, where the situation is almost the same. Lawless individuals have adopted the snatching of handbags and valuable items from local inhabitants in Betwa. Betwa city dwellers say the snatchers do so with the aid of high-performing motorcycles. This public observation preoccupies commercial motorbike riders in Betwa, who have adopted measures to assist the forces of law and order to fish out the hoodlums or criminals. For me, I'm Strong Sander. Tell us more.
These criminals specialized in snatching bags and mobile telephones have made life a living hell to inhabitants of Betwa in the east region of Cameroon. A victim says her handbag containing her telephone and valuable items was snatched by a co-passenger on board a commercial motorcycle. A commercial motorbike rider confirms that many of their passengers have been victims, as the bag snatchers target them mostly on the opposite driving side of the road. The phenomenon is, however, not new to the trade union of commercial motorbike riders in Betwa, who have now put in place a security system to fight against it. They use bikes with power engines like Honda and Oxen, which makes it difficult to catch up with them when a bag is snatched. However, when we are notified, we work with our colleagues to facilitate their tracking and handing over to the forces of law and order. These lawless individuals on board highly performant motorcycles operate at late hours and are not commercial motorcycle riders. Most of their operations begin from 5 p.m., 6 p.m. and above, because they are not commercial motorcycle riders. While being committed and hopeful to track down and fish out these unwanted riders, the trade union of commercial motorbike riders in Betwa urges commuters to be prudent, endeavor to avoid the main road and trek on the commuter's track. They are also urged to avoid exposing their handbags and valuable items while on board commercial motorcycles, among other things. This message as well concerns individuals coming to the city of Betwa from other parts of the country.
In health, the month of October continues, and we are still in the business of informing you about cancer. Cancer remains a major public health concern in Cameroon. The condition caused by genetic factors, environmental influences, and infections is reported to be one of the causes of death in the country. To address this issue, medical professionals advise patients to visit hospitals for chemotherapy. Our reporter Lucy Liengu is here, was at the oncology center at the General Hospital in Douala, where she spoke to a nasopharyngeal cancer patient. Her report.
In the chemotherapy infusion center at the General Hospital of Douala, at least 8 patients suffering from different cancer pathologies receiving treatment. Among them is 49-year-old Cyril Abesolo from Gabon, who has been struggling with cervical cancer for the past 8 years. After every 21 days, he visits the hospital. He says being a cancer patient has been a difficult journey for the past 8 years, and after some time his condition deteriorated due to the financial burden. As a result, he lost his hearing, and to regain this, oncologists prescribe assistive listening devices and hearing aids. Cyril Abesolo complains he spends 350,000 francs CFA within 3 weeks for medications and treatment.
il faut faire vraiment beaucoup de sacrifices. Nous souhaitons que
cancer patients plead with the government to subsidize their treatment, which according to them is so costly.
Les médicaments pour le cancer.
A senior nurse at the oncology department explains the process of chemotherapy.
When they come in the morning, we first of all we monitor their vital signs, and then we'll put them in the room to sit. Then we'll set up the IV lines, and we'll set up the drips for treatment. We do chemotherapy. Chemotherapy is a cancer treatment, but their treatment we put in the drip. They take it like infusion.
During the treatment, patients are closely monitored for side effects.
They'll give them the fish. If, for example, we have some patients that will come and tell you they are vomiting, they have nausea, they have diarrhea. So if you feel as if maybe you are having nausea, there is a drug written already. You just go and buy and take.
Medics advise cancer patients who are concerned about the side effects of chemotherapy not to shy away but visit the hospital. This will ensure the patient's overall health.
And in other news, today has been observed the world over as the International Day for the White Cane. Many visually impaired persons in Douala have expressed concerns over the fact that many Cameroonians are ignorant over the sign or information they send across while using their white cane. According to them, this accounts for the high rates of accidents faced by some of their peers. They were speaking during the commemoration of the International White Cane Day today in Douala. Immaculate Fogwe completes the story for us.
For many visually impaired persons, navigating with a white cane in hand is often than not a gamble. Amidst the chaos of traffic, potholes, street vendors, unmarked construction zones, and occasional wandering livestock, these visually impaired persons are often confronted with considerable barriers to mobility.
The white cane is our sign. The sign that we want that the people in the street, the bike and the taxi should know about this our sign. That when we want to cross the road, when we make our sign, the vehicle and the bike should stop, that we should cross our road.
Though the cane allows them to easily navigate the environment safely, many express concerns over the ignorance of many Cameroonians on their sign language.
I want to cross the road. I will jig my white cane with my right hand. My left hand will be like this. When you see a blind man with this sign, it means that she wants to cross the road. And when I know that the vehicle has dropped, I will put down my white cane with my right hand. I will put my left foot. This sign means that I'm really ready to cross the road. When I know that the vehicle has stopped, I will cross my road and put down my left hand and make the circle of security. Let there be no obstacle around me.
Gwe Irene further explains how to tell when a visually impaired person is in danger.
Waiting for a taxi, I will put my leg in V, my white cane middle of my leg, my two hands on top of my cane. The third sign I'll need for a help. I will just put my white cane the length of my body. I will be like a military man. This sign means that I need for a help. The fourth sign is I'm in danger. When I was crossing the road, I discovered that the bike did not drop. Now I will hold my white cane with my left hand and my right hand will be the length of my body. This sign means that I am in danger.
Celebrating White Cane Day in Douala, these visually impaired persons were able to discuss among themselves the challenges they often face in the society and how they can possibly overcome them. A celebration that ended in praise.
Thanks, Immaculate Fogwe, for that report, which takes us out of Cameroon. Human Rights Watch has published today a report on torture in 2 prisons and a detention center in Rwanda. In this report, they highlighted the poor living conditions of detainees in Rwanda, in the Rwanda central prisons. And over to Nigeria, a catastrophic flood in the Kogi state has damaged several schools and also houses, including hospitals. As Sedu Chakuso tells us in our foreign page roundup.
Hit by terrible floods for more than a month, Kogi State in central Nigeria now fears it is facing a major humanitarian crisis and is launching a new appeal for aid. Located south of the capital, Abuja, it is also nicknamed Confluence State because it is here that the Benue River flows into the Niger River. According to figures released by local authorities, the floods have destroyed more than 200 localities and nearly 2 million people are currently homeless. Schools and hospitals have also been destroyed. Local authorities now fear the floods could become the worst in Kogi State's history. Their early warning plan has so far prevented any loss of life, but they are now realizing that their current resources will not be enough to continue to cope with the rising waters and the needs of those affected. Sandra Musa of the State Emergency Management Agency is urging residents to leave, fearing that the floods could lead to food shortages and cholera outbreaks. Elsewhere, Human Rights Watch published a report on Tuesday, October 15, on torture in 2 prisons and a detention center in Rwanda. Last April, Innocent Kayumbu, former director of Rubavu and Nyarungeng prisons, was sentenced to 15 years in prison for the assault and murder of a prison at Rubavu prison in 2019. The report also highlights cases of ill treatment at Nyarungeng prison. Prisoners have reported in various trials that they were forced into a container filled with water where they were beaten by prison officers and inmates acting under the orders of staff. In this report, Human Rights Watch denounces serious failings not only within Rwanda's correctional services but also within the judicial system and the National Human Rights Institution. The NGO calls on the Rwandan government to put an end to all acts of torture and ill treatment of detainees.
And viewers, that was what we put together for you on the first part of the news. Thank you for being with us, but don't go away. Talking Point comes up next. Welcome back, viewers. Today we will be coming back to the just ended National Executive Committee meeting of the Social Democratic Front, the SDF party. And our guest tonight is Mr. Kejang Henry. He is the Communications Officer of the Social Democratic Front. Thank you, sir, for your time. Thank you for accepting to be our guest tonight. You are the Communications Officer of the Social Democratic Front, the SDF. The National Executive Committee meeting ended, that was over the weekend in Yaoundé, and you were actively present. Can you expatiate further on the high point which the SDF considered priority during the meeting?
Well, the National Executive Committee took place on the 12th of October, and of course it was an ordinary session according to the text of the party. So we discussed lengthily because the agenda was extremely heavy, and so we discussed on the agenda, and we came out with very resounding resolutions that will be communicated to the press afterwards. But I must say that it was an interesting debate because the National Executive Committee holds 3 times, or at least 4, based on the text of the party. As you know, the SDF is the only political party in the country that holds its National Executive Committee regularly. And of course, party structures have been very active on the ground. Well, the discussions were very fruitful, and you understand that the agenda was extremely heavy, that we needed to brush it. That is why it took us 9 hours of discussion so that we could come up with something that was very important for the Cameroonian people, because we took stock of the temperature of the party, we took stock of the temperature of the country, and of course we took stock of the temperature at the international level. All these things were discussed because there were very frantic discussions, and you believe with me that the SDF has been doing a lot, in terms of keeping the Cameroonian people informed about the situation of the country. That is what is important, and I would confirm with you that the National Executive Committee members were very outspoken as usual, and of course the debates were rife, and we finally concluded with what we're discussing. So it's going to be an interesting thing to read the resolutions that we arrive at.
Now, Mr. Kejang Henry, let's throw more light on the issue of the SDF joining other political parties to form a coalition. The chairman, Honorable Joshua Osi, said a coalition It's not about individuals, and before merging, the parties must have similar objectives or a plan of action. What exactly does that mean, and what's the SCF stance on a coalition in Cameroon?
Correct about the issue of coalition, because that is the talk of the day. But you understand that we had a very strong stand on the issue of coalition, and we are talking about electoral alliances. Now you have to understand, if you and I have to go in an alliance, the first thing we should ask ourselves is, what do you bring on the table? What do I bring on the table? We look at the convergence points and then try to discuss these points. If the points are favorable for both of us, we can now strike a deal for an alliance. So the SDF has been very categorical, and let us make it very clear that we ask for people to bring their programs, their political programs, so that we see. It is an open secret. You know, most of the political parties will always emerge when there is an electoral calling, and after the electoral calling they will disappear. Now the SDF, which is strongly implanted in all the 360 electoral districts in the country, or divisions in the country, cannot just strike what we call an electoral alliance like that. We ask the other parties, what do you bring on the table? And for your information, let me tell you, we have had meetings with other political parties, we have had meetings with labor unions, we have had meetings with the civil society, and these meetings took place in Kribi. The political leaders are listening to us and they know it is a fact. And that particular meeting was sponsored by SDF, and we came up with a roadmap, with a working document to make sure that we all bring together our ideas, because we are talking about a coalition. But in the coalition, we are talking about the philosophy of each political party. Now, if you can prove to a political party that is strongly implanted in the country, as maybe as a smaller party, if you can prove that you have the wherewithal to make sure you accompany or you bring something on the table, the SDF is always open, and we are saying that we are still open to coalition. We have not closed any doors about coalition. It should be made clear to all Cameroonians that we have not opened, we have not closed any doors, but we are saying that, what do you bring on the table? Cameroonians should understand our political agenda, our political program for the nation will be unveiled maybe in the weeks ahead. Cameroonians will be informed about what we have for them. It is based on your political agenda, your political program, that the people will vote for you, and that is what we are talking about.
Let's talk still on the coalition, Mr. Kejang. Let me quote your chairman: a coalition is not necessary to unseat President Paul Biya. Those are the words of your party chairman, Honorable Joshua Osi. How convincing is that statement, Mr. Kejang, looking at the SDF party? Can the SDF on its own unseat President Paul Biya in 2025?
Now let us take the examples of other countries. Let me just go next door, Senegal. Many people don't understand that President Diomaye Faye was not in a coalition. He was never in the coalition. We should read the history books. Now, the rest of the political parties actually gave their support during the second round, because he was going under the ticket of the president of the party, Sonko. Now, can we say that Diomaye Faye won under the banner of a coalition? I don't think so. Now, but the Senegalese people knew that he had a program. They knew that Sonko had a program for them. Can we take time to look at the programs of each political party? If this program meets the aspiration of the people, that is what we are talking about. Yes, we are saying that a coalition, maybe if SDF should go without a coalition, if they can unseat the government. The SDF has already done that. Okay, yes, at the time, we're not talking about coalition, but we're talking about union for change. So if now we should be able to understand the political programs of each political party, I think we can do it in as much as we have the strength. It is for the people to understand our political program and believe in us, because we are the only party that can bring Cameroonians from the pangs of tribulations, of suffering.
Okay, that's right, Mr. Keja. Now, federalism was also an important topic you guys discussed in Yaoundé over the weekend. The SDF seems to have a different idea of how the form of the state or federation can be applied to resolve certain crises in the country. Can you explain to us further?
Now, federalism is a thing that is difficult for too many Cameroonians to understand, but you know that we are sending power. It is a devolution of the power down. Now, the government of President Biya or the CPDM government is talking about federalism or say decentralization. But we are talking about federalism because federalism will make the people have more power to decide on their things. Let us be very clear about it. Federalism doesn't mean that you are separating the nation. Federalism, take a simple example. In a federal state, let us take, say, for example, the federal state of Littoral. In the federal state of Littoral, you can have a CPDM mayor, you can have an SDF governor, you can go to the far north, you can have a PCRN governor, and then you have a UPC mayor. So, but then when you look at all of this, what is the subset of what we are expecting? We are expecting that the people should be able to decide on what they want. You don't need a governor to refer to Yaoundé to be able to decide on a certain policy. Just take a simple example in health or in education. To construct a simple classroom of 5 million francs, a building, you need to refer to Yaoundé. And by the time the information comes back, the academic year has ebbed out. So what are we talking about? Federalism will speed up the economy. Federalism will make the different federal states competitive, because we want to even copy the examples of one federal state to implement in our own federal state. And not all the federal states have the same realities. You cannot tell me that the east, that is a forest region, will have the same problems maybe with the littoral, that is a coastal region. That you can have the same problems with the far north or the northern part of the country, which is a Sahelian region. No. We have our different specificities, and so we can work on those aspects so that we can now grow together as a nation.
Thank you, Kejang Harry, for accepting to be our guest on Talking Point tonight. Just to let all viewers know that you are the communications officer of the Social Democratic Front. Thank you again, sir, for your time. Viewers, thank you so much for always being there. That does it for this edition of the news. Don't go away, our programs continue. Equinoxe comes up in about 30 minutes or so with Serge Alamotu and Julien Beth Bissay will be in the studio with you. That would be at 8 p.m. for the news in the French language. Thanks again for being with us. Bye-bye for now and see you again tomorrow. Same time, God willing.